Welcome to Voices for Justice with Danielle.
Hi, everyone. On Friday, February 7th, I attended the 5-year anniversary Standout for Juston Root, who was executed by the police on February 7th, 2020, during a mental health crisis. If you haven't seen the video I made titled The Execution of Juston Root, please check it out. I think his sister, Jennifer, describes the events surrounding her brother's execution better than I ever could. So please watch and listen to the series of events that unfolded on the day the police executed Juston Root.
He had a wild side, of course. He was a young youth, and he was a daring fellow. He got into trouble from time to time. But to his friends and people who knew him, he was a remarkable person, and he'll be remembered by many, many people. And now he'll be remembered by people such as yourselves that didn't even know him. So thank you all for that.
All right. Thank you. I have a lot of emotions. It's been a very tough few months. And I can't believe it's been 5 years. It still feels like yesterday. People say that time will help heal, but it doesn't. It just actually gets worse because so much time has gone by and you miss them at your table and you miss them at all your family events. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here because it's so good to see so many faces and people who have come throughout the years. It's what keeps me going. We had some candles. We had some battery flameless candles to hold because I just wanted to hold them as a light for Juston. And for those of you that might not know, but Juston took his last breaths right where those flowers are over there. And so I just wanted to hold the candle to share Juston's light. We'll remember Juston's spirit and his love and the love we hold in our hearts for him. I never thought that this would be where he would die. And I know I've told people this before, but now that I feel like I'm at 5 years, but Juston and I would we'd be trying to have some sort of race to get to the Chestnut Hill movie theater over there. So this is kind of like our old stomping ground. I feel my brother's spirit all around me. And I know that he would want me to seek justice for him, but not only for him, for other victims. He would want people to show more compassion for one another and to take a moment to help someone who's suffering and scared. He'd also say, don't sweat the small stuff. In one of our last text messages to each other, we texted, I love you. Because in those weeks before he was killed, he's like, Jen, we need to reconnect with all the people who've touched our lives and tell them that we love them and take that time out to smell the roses or dance, because he definitely liked people to hear his music and bust a move. There's so much that I'm going to miss out on not having him. And every time someone says my brother or my sister, I realize that I don't have that anymore. But I want to remember his biggest bear hugs. He was definitely my little big brother. As we stand here 5 years later, there has been no justice for Juston. I'm not going to allow it to go unchecked, because what I've realized in this journey, we're going to get justice by making sure the truth is told. And I plan to just keep telling the truth of what happened. And I'm also going to let our court systems know that I'm beyond shocked and horrified that they would think it's reasonable for police officers to come up on an injured, incapacitated man covered in blood laying right there and shoot 31 bullets. Because that's what our Massachusetts judges and courts say a reasonable officer would do in the circumstances. So some of you know Juston's story, so here I am going to share it once again here. So on Friday, February 7th, 2020, Juston was outside his mental health center in Boston. He got out of his car and went to go talk to a security guard. They had a talk for a couple minutes, and he had noticed that Juston had something clear and plastic in his waistband. And Juston shook his hand and walked away, and then that security guard called his command center and said that a man had just threatened to shoot him. Well, we know that's not true, but what that sparked is a debacle of what led to this egregious killing. So the Boston police were called, they showed up, and this one officer just got out of his cruiser, walked right up to Juston with his gun out, and then Juston turned around and took out his ginormous 12-inch clear plastic paintball gun that also had like a chimney on it, so it was very identifiable. And that was in response to the officer's gun being out. There was no de-escalation, there was no conversation, there was no consideration for the fact that there were 3 mental health facilities steps from here. This should not happen at a hospital where people go for help. So that officer then shot it in half, leaving just a clear plastic small handle in his right hand. Another officer who took cover and stayed back, he shot 10 bullets. And the other officer had just fallen backwards, and then Juston fell onto his legs. Then they had some sort of tussle on the ground, and Juston was bleeding because he had probably been shot a good amount of times. There were 15 bullets shot at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Everybody should be alarmed and horrified at that because they ricochet. And if you have officers showing up and not de-escalating a situation, there could be horrible consequences. And actually, one of the Boston police bullets hit the valet in the head. He survived, but he has long-term injuries. And then Juston limped to his car and drove away slowly, and he was going very slow on Huntington Ave. As a matter of fact, it took about 2 years to get that video. And I also just want to say that the video on that Chase ATM over there, the 2 videos, couldn't get those either. It's amazing how much video footage disappears or skips over crucial moments. But that's the games they play. And we have all sorts of wind just blowing everything away here. Anyway, he drove away. One officer did a pit maneuver, and Juston took off. And meanwhile, he was bleeding profusely in his car. Then he crashed right up at this intersection over here at a high speed. Wheels came off his car. It was a catastrophic accident. There's no one who could go by that car and think that whoever got out of it was going to be okay. Never mind being shot and covered in blood. So he then got out of his car, fell onto the sidewalk over there. And meanwhile, there was a civilian who was a certified EMT who was in her car right across over here, and she ran to come and help him. And by the time he got to this small mulch area, he dropped right there, and she was at his side and noted that he had, and by the way, he had lost 2,000 cc's of blood in his car seat, so he was in really rough condition. Anyway, she described him as lights on, no one home, his eyes rolling up into the back of his head, and gurgling blood. And he was clutching his chest, probably having a cardiac arrest from so much blood loss. So the officers came running with their guns out, and they told her to run, and she did. But they started, like, literally one guy kicked him, the one who did the pit maneuver, kicked him instead of apprehending him. And then they did a semicircle from 5 to 6 feet away, and they shot him 31 times. So one of those bullets went across this parking lot. Excessive force puts us all in danger. That's why we can't let it go unchecked, and that's why they're always going to be hearing from me. And now with connecting with a lot of other justice groups, like the Standard Birchmore group and the Free Karen Reed group, what we have in common is the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, and the very same investigators are also in those 2 other cases that were in Juston's. There's something going on here in Norfolk DA's office, and we're definitely going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to make sure it might not be right away, because I know this is a marathon. It's a long one, but we're definitely, by teaming up and coming together, we're getting energized, and we ain't got no quit. So I'm honored to have other speakers here today, and I'm going to share what this next journey for me is that Juston would add an E to the end of his name, making it just one. And so he would say that we are just one. And that's what my next chapter in this book is going to be focusing on, that we are one. Now I'm going to ask Missy to come on up. She is spearheading the Sandra Birchmore case, and we've done some standouts together. Thank you for being here.
Hi everyone, I am very honored to be able to speak to you today. I didn't know Juston, but his story has definitely touched me. I just want to grab my phone so I have some of the things that I wrote down to say. As Jen said, I run the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group with my team. And at the beginning for the last year, I've had on Twitter, I've had a lot of people bombarded me saying, look at this case, look at this case. And I was like, I don't have the mental capacity to look at another case. But then I was like, you know what, I need to check this case out because I'm hearing it's the same investigators. I'm hearing that there's something fishy with this case. And so I ended up watching Jen on a few shows so I could really hear from her mouth what his case was all about. And I was
February
horrified.
7th, 2020. This happened February
What happened
7th,
to him
2020.
should never happen to anyone. Mental illness shouldn't be a death sentence. Mental illness should never be something that the cops use against you. They're supposed to protect and serve, and they should be trained on how to use strategies to de-escalate and make things better. And the security guard at that hospital should have known how to de-escalate the situation too, because he's the one who set this all off. He is responsible, extremely responsible for what happened here. As I said, I run the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group, and that's how I met Jen. And we have worked together, and we did an event called Stronger Together. That's because all of us are stronger together. The only way we can change policing in this country is working together. As Jen said, the same investigators that investigated this case, investigated Sandra's case, investigated Officer O'Keefe's case, and there is something wrong in the Norfolk DA's office. There shouldn't be a case closed after about 30 days, especially where, I don't know if some of you know, there was a case where a man was leaving rubber duckies around Canton, and they investigated that case for 6 months. There's an issue with that. Why would you not investigate a case like this for only that amount of time and take on this ridiculous case for 6 months? There's a problem in that DA's office. Michael Morrissey needs to go. The CPAC under him needs to go. We all need to work together to make sure these things get changed. We can't allow this to continue. This young man shouldn't have lost his life here. The police should have, at that point, what happened here, they should have handcuffed him and then provided care to save his life. But they didn't. They executed this young man. And there's also an issue with the police investigating themselves and letting their buddies, other cops, go. It's dirty cops investigating dirty cops. And the 3 cases I've mentioned, it's funny that all of these cases involve police officers doing wrong. Juston's case, he was murdered and executed by the police. Sandra's case, she was murdered by a police officer. Officer O'Keefe, we believe that there's dirty cops in that house who murdered him. It is long time for us to all band together and stand up against the police who are doing wrong in this Norfolk DA's office. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Missy. And I'd like to invite Peter Murphy to come on up. He's a longtime Karen Reed supporter, and we are all Karen Reed supporters.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for showing up today for this 5-year anniversary for the untimely passing of Juston Root. I had met the family back maybe a month ago, ironically at District Attorney Morrissey's office on a standout. We marched around the building. It was probably 75 or 100 strong. And the narrative continues. We've seen, as these elegant speakers before me have reiterated, just the continuation of nefarious
This is in
policing
Brookline, Massachusetts.
by the District Attorney Morrissey's office. There's no other way to express it. It's cut and dry. It's before all of us. Evident. I think that this banner right here pretty much tells everything that I was going to speak to. As I said, my name is Peter Murphy, and maybe I didn't say it. My name is Peter Murphy. I'm a retired police sergeant from Canton Police, the infamous Canton Police Department that investigated Sandra Bridgemore's suicide and now death, and also John O'Keefe's death. I was on the job from 1986 until 2010. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I was not there during all this nefarious activity. I can pretty much assure you that if I was on duty that morning, there would have been a total recall on the morning of John O'Keefe's passing. I also would have certainly done a more thorough investigation of Sandra Bridgemore, and evidently the evidence that's been found since leads to a homicide. As far as Juston's case, it's evident right here on this banner. I was going to speak to all of that. I will tell you that my training and experience as a police officer for almost 3 decades, it sounds to me like there was absolutely no need to escalate and go to deadly force at Brigham and Women's Hospital. There were other means to have quelled whatever they anticipated as a threat at that location. What happened after that?
Yes,
bullets
Cassandra,
flying
it is
all
freezing.
around.
I can't feel my
A wounded
hands.
Juston Root in his car coming down here, making it to this bark mulch area where the flowers are, and 31 shots. Police are trained, without getting into it, what they call double tap, which means you fire 2 rounds. You try to neutralize the subject. You don't shoot to kill, you shoot to stop. 31 bullets here and 10 or more at the 15 at the hospital is very problematic. And for me to stand here having worn a badge that said Commonwealth of Mass on it for 3 decades and carry a gun and kiss my kids goodbye every morning or every night, and to have this atrocity happen here is gut-wrenching, and it's very angry. I don't stand here as anything but really angry. I believe that a fish rots from the head, and I believe the problem is on Chalmette Road, and District Attorney Morrissey is on borrowed time as far as not only being in that position, but also enjoying freedom. I believe the feds are working him. I believe the feds are going to come in soon and arrest a lot of people. I spoke with Josh Levy back in April of 23. I talked to him. He referred me to several FBI agents who I have also talked to about what's been going on. And I believe and I pray and I hope that this new regime that's coming into play now, regardless of your politics, we need to stop corruption in Massachusetts. Yeah. It can't go another event like this. We did a standout on the 29th for John O'Keefe, January 29th. We did a standout for Sandra on the 4th. First, I'm sorry. And here we are today on the 7th. When's it end? Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And I can tell you that everybody here, and as Jen said, we ain't got no quit. And I will do everything I can before I leave this planet to put bad cops in jail, because as Dave Unetti said, there's nothing a good cop hates more than a bad cop. And I guess, other than what has already been said by 2 elegant speakers, I can end at this point, Jen, unless you have a question.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mizzy. And I'm going to welcome up Beatrice. She's a Justice sister. I met her in September at a Karen Reed Standout, and we've just been tight at the hip ever since, along with many others. But it's great to, have met you, and I appreciate your support.
And can we just give an applause for Jen, the most amazing sister anybody could ever have. I mean, you amaze me every day since the day I met you. It's amazing. Your fight, we're here for it. So today marks 5 years since Juston was executed by officers who were sworn to protect and serve. From the initial interaction when Juston arrived at the hospital to get help, a series of events occurred, which brings us to this location. Juston was met with extreme force. What he needed was help and compassion from everyone involved.
Thank you.
Juston was unarmed and posed no threat. From everything we've heard about Juston, he was creative. We've heard some of his music here as we started this vigil. His presence filled the room and his laugh was infectious. He loved his family and his friends. To the Root family, we know nothing can bring Juston back. We stand here with you, hoping and praying that one day you will get the justice you deserve. So I just want to do a little prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for your comfort and peace for those who are grieving the loss of Juston. Please bring them into your loving arms and grant them hope and healing. May they find comfort in your presence and the promise of eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap up because I don't know how much more wind we can take here. That's right. Rain, shine, you name it, we're still going to be there. Nothing's stopping us. This is just how I'm going to leave it. That we unify as one because we are stronger together, and we are just one. And thank you so much again for being here. And now we'll play some more of Juston's music. Help yourself to donut coffee on the back table. Thank you to Jason for his sounding.
I'm gonna get a better image of the banner. 31 shots fired from 6 feet away, covered in blood on the ground. 2,000 cc's of blood loss while he was in his car. He was clutching his chest. He was in a semi-comatose state. He brandished no weapon. He had nothing in his hands. And a former EMT was providing care to him when Boston police ordered her away and he was shot 31 times. She's only 41. It is very, very windy here.
Will you take a pic? Will you take a pic? Oh, Tim's coming. Yeah, jump in. Jump in, Babs. Let's go. Will you take a pic for me?
So that's Juston's mom right there talking. His dad is right there in the blue. So there were a lot more people here. A lot of people left, but right now we got these folks here that's busy. Oh, and over here is the mulch area where they have the flowers where he took his last breaths. Right here. Where he took his final breaths. Hey, Jen. Good to see you. Yeah.
It's like pretty damn windy, huh?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I feel like a table's gonna blow.
I just want to stand here for a moment and do a moment of silence for Juston.
Parents $12,000 back for sending the kids to Kansas PD. And I later on in the day. But more stuff came out about videos that they've been getting.
May he rest in peace and may he get justice. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get an independent investigation into DA Morrissey's office because they keep investigating themselves and giving themselves a pass. 31 shots while somebody is unconscious on the ground is excessive force. And there's other people here too who have lost loved ones. And I think, well, I don't see her anymore. But there are other people who lost loved ones due to excessive force by the police. Do you need help cleaning up? No? Okay.
Yeah, I've got a cold. I'm just so cold. I'm like,
I know. Yeah. I know, it's freezing.
it is.
Alright.
Do any recording?
I'm live now.
Oh, you are? Great. Okay, good. But I can check it out online because my camera didn't work, so.
It's on TikTok Live, but I'm going to download it and then upload it onto TikTok.
Oh, great.
Alright, I'll see you when's the next one? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet. Probably. I'm going to have to talk to Busy.
Okay.
If I can set up something.
Well, if it's on a weekend, I'll definitely be there. If it's on a weekday, I'll try. Alright, I'll see you. Hi, Mizzy. Ooh. You know what? I'm just going to put this in the car. And then I will kind of take it apart, my tripod here, when I get home because it is too cold. It is like so effing cold, guys. Okay. So, wait, let me turn off the radio. That was the Standout for Juston Root. But yeah, I saw somebody had asked the question about which police department it was. So there was one state police trooper involved, and then there were also, I believe it was Brookline, Mass Police. Because Brookline and Brighton, it's like it happened like very close to the town line. So I'm almost positive it was Brookline, but I would have to double check that. But he was from Canton. And the main issue is that the investigators who investigated this, right, they were the same, like, when it's a death like that, it's not the town police or the city police that do the investigation, it's the state police. And it was the same state police officers that were involved in the Karen Reed and John O'Keefe trial, and the same investigators that were involved in the Sandra Birchmore case. And if people saw the live I did on February 1st, it was originally ruled a self-unaliving. And then just this past August, it was changed to murder. Exactly. It does not take 31 shots to stop a man that's already down. No. That's why. So I have actually a sweatshirt that says executed. I did not finish my laundry. That stuff I put in the washing machine last night and then I fell asleep. But it says executed on it. That's why we wear the sweatshirt that says executed. It's like a, it looks like a license plate. It says Massachusetts, Juston Root executed. Exactly, yeah. So by the time a person loses 2,000 cc's of blood, if they are conscious, they are not a threat. And he wasn't even conscious. So I read through the statement from the civilian EMT who ran to provide him assistance that day. And I'm going to be honest, I started bawling uncontrollably. I could not get through her statement. But she said that when she first approached him, his eyes were kind of like like ping-ponging, like bouncing around. His breathing and heart rate were both elevated. And then, like that, at the snap of a finger, his eyes rolled into the back of his head. His breathing slowed, his heart rate slowed, and he was gurgling. And it was like, she described it as the death rattle. And she said that she was trying to pull his coat off to see what was wrong. She thought he was like having some kind of a heart attack or something. She said his coat was so heavy and she couldn't get it off of him. She didn't know at the time the reason it was so heavy was because of all the blood. And reading through people's statements, even the police officer statements, the police officer statements are pretty enraging. But when you read through all the papers, when you watch all the surveillance footage of what happened here on February 7th, 2020, you can't help but want justice for him, because you realize it really could happen to any one of us. And that man was executed. Okay, they were not in fear for their lives. He didn't brandish a weapon after the car chase. He had nothing on him at that point. There was no reason for what they did. None. And yeah, they actually hired an independent forensic pathologist to look into everything. And when the independent forensic pathologist looked at the blood in the car, she was just like, there is no way. There's no way. There's no way they were in fear for their life at that point. There's no way he was even conscious at that point. And so that's why this is so heartbreaking. And unfortunately, this did not get the attention it should have received initially. The only reason this started getting attention was because of the Karen Read case. And the Karen Read case is also responsible for why more attention was given to Sandra Birchmore's case. And I think the thing that's so surprising to me is that it took that. And it almost makes me glad that the Karen Read situation is happening. Not glad about anything that happened, like John O'Keefe, may he rest in peace. I wish he was still here with us today. Karen Read being targeted as having committed that act is the only reason, and her innocence and the botched investigation and Turtle Boy bringing attention to it, those are the only reasons Sandra Birchmore and Juston Root, the only reason anybody gave it a second look. The only reason anybody started to believe, hey, maybe what all these people are saying about investigate the DA's office, we need police accountability. Nobody was supporting those calls until the Karen Read situation happened. So, but yeah, it is really cold. I'm going to start driving home. And it's not too far of a drive, maybe like 30 to 45-ish minutes. So I finally have feeling in my fingertips again. So that's always great. So I'm going to start driving. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you all. I'm going to be downloading this live, and I'll see if I can repost it to TikTok later, but otherwise I'll definitely be uploading it to YouTube. If you don't or have never been to my channel on YouTube before, it's Voices for Justice with Danielle. And I'm going to try to get that uploaded today. Sometimes my devices give me a hard time. I'm constantly running out of storage. But all right, yeah. Bye.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.